Good afternoon, everybody. It's a good time to be Indigenous. You're here with your boy Cody. We have Dev and Destiny.
Hey, guys.
And we have Jay Falkus from Falkus Media.
Hey, everyone.
Ooh, sounding good.
Yeah,
Welcome to Intertribal Talk.
New mic.
Yeah, buddy. Now we can actually hear you.
Yeah, last time was the old cheap mic, so every time I had to talk, I had to turn up the volume, so that's why it sounded weird when I talked as well.
We also had that audio issue the first like 6 minutes of the episode.
No, that was a while ago.
Was that long ago?
Yeah.
I thought it was the last episode.
Yeah, because you play with your mic, right?
Yeah, you sounded like you were underwater.
Yeah.
Your mic was picking up my voice.
Well, that's how it was, right? Because
Yeah.
he plays with his mic and the connection wasn't proper.
Playing with
So it
yourself,
was
man.
your mic. It was your mic that picked him up, and that's why we could hear him.
Good thing my voice is loud.
Yeah.
So it's been a minute. We've had a lot going on between the three of us. Life has been keeping us very busy, on our toes. Let's check in. How are things? What are you up to? How you been?
Oh, man. I'm good. I'm super good, actually. There's been so much going on. Like, with the whole break that we took, like, just so everyone understands, it was like for professional reasons outside of the podcast. Like, all of us had agreed it's okay to put a pause on things. And that's what I love about our group dynamic here, is that we respect each other's personal lives so much. Like, when there's things like going on, it's like, okay, well, let's pause, take a break for a bit, come back even stronger, and then we have so much to talk about.
That's right. Absolutely.
So I've been working my little butt off, doing the horse stuff as usual, in different aspects. Like, I feel like if I had a web to describe what I was doing with horses, I'd probably have like 4 branches, 5 branches off that web, because there's so many different things going on with it, like with my own personal horses, and then stuff I'm advocating for the ferals, and then kind of like learning things from my friends with their horses as well. So it's been really cool. I'm learning much. I'm developing my horsewoman skills, which is always a good thing. I had COVID back in, I think, February, and I ended up having to put a pause on going to that horse medicine workshop that I was signed up for, which was so sad. I found out I had COVID the day before I was supposed to go. I was devastated.
No doubt.
Yeah. So there was a halt put on that. Thankfully, the woman who puts on that retreat, Hillary, she was so understanding, and she's all about divine timing like I am. So we just understood, like, it wasn't meant to happen right then. It's meant to happen later. And I would have felt like such a jerk if I showed up there with COVID and got everybody sick, right? So
that's heavy. That would... Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't want that. Mm-mm. And then I've actually... I was approached a little while back about working with War Party Movement.
Sweet.
And they are an amazing group. Like, honestly, I have a huge crush on all the girls involved. Like, you know what? I get girl crushes all the time. And I don't think I've ever had so many girl crushes at once. These women are just the most badass women I've ever seen. The founder, Jeremiah Wilbur, he is such a cool, and he calls himself like the big brother. Like, he's the big brother to everybody.
Yeah.
He's a retired Special Forces Green Beret, I think is what it is. And anyway, just super badass. What their organization is they help to rescue women who are in women and children, anybody who's in a domestic abusive relationship. And they actually, you know, like they do what they can and work with certain organizations that specialize in that.
Yeah.
And, basically, it's like they're rebuilding everybody's spirit. So they teach women self-defense, how to use guns. They train them. They have this place called War Party Ranch, and they take these women and they teach them how to ranch, and they teach them how to be cowhands and cowgirls, and they help them and set them up with jobs on other ranches. So that, to me, I'm like, is so freaking cool. I've actually been invited to go to Colorado and partake in one of their workshops. So that is on the horizon. I'm not sure when, but that's going to happen.
Nice.
It will.
I want to go to Colorado. I freaking love Colorado. I've never been there, but like I want to go there.
I've never been there either, but it's just so beautiful. And I keep seeing like what they're doing on that ranch, and I'm just like, take me.
I love that. That's good. We need more of that. You know what? Maybe we could touch on that a little bit later.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love to actually dive into that because we do have the Moose Hide campaign.
Yes.
Coming up pretty quick here.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be a lot of community events around that, but
Definitely going to
I
that.
filmed for them.
did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yay. I'll see you there.
No, I did.
You did?
It was an interview. I don't know. I can't remember the guy's name, but yeah, it was a good one.
Oh,
Yeah.
right on. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Cody.
Yo.
Hey, Cody.
Yo.
How's it going?
It's going. I am so excited. I can finally. I've had something I wanted to share with everybody for so long.
Fire away, my friend.
So our business. So my partner Sarah and I, our business, North Okanagan Apparel. We're usually rocking the gear every episode, or we have cups or tumblers. We're always trying to advertise a little bit during the podcast. But so we got reached out to in February from a very large company, Andrew Peller, right? So they run a chain of wineries across Canada. They run Wayne Gretzky's wineries. They're a very large corporation, and they reached out to us and said, hey, we like your stuff. We want to put it in 5 of our wineries in the Okanagan. We're like, yo, like, yes, like that is amazing. So we were like really excited, but really scared because they're like, we want to do it. And then we're waiting, and we waited and waited and waited for the order to come in, like for what they wanted to order from us. We're waiting and waiting. We're so scared because we don't know. Like we've never dealt with a corporation this big.
Yeah.
So they finally put in their order, and it was like, oh my God, we're short.
Oh no.
So it took us about a month to like order what we needed to fill up their orders.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy. Like it feels so good. We just shipped out the boxes on Monday to the 5 wineries throughout the Okanagan. So you got Lake Country, Kelowna, Oliver, and Penticton, right?
Yeah.
So this is a really big opportunity for our business.
I'm stoked for you guys.
Thank you.
Do you
Thank
remember
you.
the names of the wineries?
I do. So it's you got Tin Horn, Red Rooster, Sand Hill, Grey Monk, and Black Hills.
Oh, I love
Nice.
Grey Monk.
Yeah. So
I need to go on a wine tour.
right? I know we were thinking of going from winery to winery, just like taking a day trip and just
Yeah.
hitting them all,
Yeah.
taking pictures, and then like and posting this on social media, right?
That's
Just
a
to,
great
like,
idea.
Yeah.
Hey, we should get a party bus. Come on. It's a work, like, what do you call that? Work retreat?
A work retreat. Yeah.
Come on.
We just put seats
I mean,
in
we
your
just
van
got
and
off of our
drive.
retreats, right? But
Yeah.
hey, let's go take another one.
I don't drink wine, so I'll do
Yeah,
that.
I don't either. So I'll be sober squad on that
More
one.
fun for the girls. Ryan doesn't drink it
There
either.
you go.
Bonding time.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it's a big opportunity for us, and we knew that. So right now we're just in the midst of like they're like, oh, we're gonna put in a small order, and it was, to them it's small, to us it was massive.
Yeah.
Between Grey Monk and Sand Hills, their 2 orders combined was almost 300 pounds worth of goods.
Ooh.
Right? So like they ordered a lot of stuff. So now we're like, okay, we're going to have a lot of eyes. Tourism's opening up in, all across Canada, and people are going to be traveling. And so we're like, okay, we really need to make sure we're ready for the next one.
Yeah.
So that's been occupying a lot of my time. And then school just finished. Hey, give me a
Yay.
clap, man. You got it.
Oh,
No.
sorry.
Come on, man. Yeah, there it is.
I still don't. I gotta figure out which buttons which. So
I got excited for you.
I
I'm
thank
sorry.
you.
I left out there.
No, that was good. That was good. I appreciate both rounds of applause. So yeah, another year of school is done. And so on one exam, I got 23 out of 40.
Ooh.
I passed. I didn't care. I went into that exam like, as long as I pass, I'm cool. C's get degrees at this point in my life.
Well, then, right on, buddy.
But then my other exam, I got 19 out of 20.
Nice.
And that was that Canadian film course I took.
Right on.
And I did that mask project I told you all about.
Yeah.
And so I told Sarah, I'm like, oh my God, I got 19 out of 20. And she's like, nerd? She's like, you're surprised? What do you mean? And I'm like, yeah, I know. And then my other exam, I got, ended up getting 81% on that.
Yeah.
So all in all, I finished pretty strong. It was a hard semester. It was not easy, but
you did it.
Made it through. Feeling good. That stress is gone now. Like school had so much stress. Oh man. Like university.
You had some energy coming off, or lack of energy coming off you.
Yeah.
Just exhausted.
Yeah. So I'm starting to like feel better now. That stress is gone. So
that's good.
Yeah. So it's, as Devin said, when we took our break, there's just a lot going on, with our own lives and businesses. And as we're all here at this podcast, we are all small business owners, right? And so it requires a lot of time and attentions, and
there's always unforeseen circumstances.
Oh man, always. So, we appreciate everyone being patient with us, and we're going to keep trying to put out episodes and keep everyone engaged and hanging out with us.
I've been really enjoying a lot of the feedback. And you know what's funny? I find it's when we take our breaks, that's when we get, at least I hear a lot from our listeners that they're like, where are you? Like, we miss you. We were waiting for the next episode. And I'm like, oh my God, you were waiting for us? That's so cool. I mean, I'm sorry.
It's by design.
Yeah. It's just like we leave you wanting more, I guess. And that's a good thing. I'm super excited about that. I feel like since we've started, we've developed and we've come a long way. We've learned a lot. That's for darn sure.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, I feel very safe here with you guys. I love being here. It's always good energy, good vibes. And I love our little powwow we have before we get started.
Yeah. We had, we could probably share a little bit anyway. Like we had, we were going to record a couple days earlier this week, but then we all realized that like our energies just weren't, we're like, yeah, you know what? Like maybe today's not the day. I was having a rough day. Dev was having a rough day. Jay.
I was fine.
You're always fine.
Jay, no, I was dead tired from having hiccups for almost 2 days, which is
so random.
Yeah, it was weird.
Oh,
the migraine and like pains and puking, and it was horrible.
That's great.
Yeah. Speaking of hiccups, I was reading quick sidebar. I decided that now that I'm done school, I'm going to start reading for fun again.
Nice.
So I'm going to dedicate an hour of every night before I go to bed to read, because I think spending too much time on my phone before bed is not good. So I'm trying to read. So I was reading Garfield. I love the Garfield books. Aww. And so I was reading it, and Garfield had the hiccups. And I was reading it, and it was just like on and on and on. Like each comic strip is only 3 pieces long, but there's like 9 strips of Garfield having the hiccups, and I was like, man, that was Jay.
Hey, movies and books, so many lessons, and so relevant to whatever's going on in your life.
Oh yeah, even the humor in Garfield, so old. Like it's really dated. Like you.
Oh yeah.
But I looked at the times when the Garfield, so I have the 3-pack. So it's like 3 Garfield books in one book.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the publication dates of those. They came out in the early 2000s.
Oh, wow.
But were they republished?
That's what I didn't look that up, but I'm assuming they're older than that. They have to be. The humor is way too
I noticed that Ryan
old
sent me
to be early 2000s humor.
Ryan sent me a Bugs Bunny clip from a long time ago, and it was like him shooting Indians with a bow and arrow, like 1 little, 2 little, 3 little. That was circulating just recently, and I was like, what in the blasphemy? Because I was so upset. I was like, I hate you and love you, Bugs. Don't ever show me that again.
That was from the 50s, I think. And yeah, it was a band commercial or band episode.
Yep.
And there's a few of them actually that are like that are like, there's one with Nazis and stuff, and Bugs is like pretending to be Hitler.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And you can find them online.
Ugh.
But yeah, there's some really bad Bugs Bunny cartoons out there.
And it's a love-hate thing we have for that little character.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. And you think about who the writers were, who, like this wasn't like Indigenous humor at the time. This was stereotypes at its finest.
Yeah.
With a green light to
Yeah.
to just publicate it and put it out there, right? But they did it through Bugs Bunny
Yeah.
or other cartoons.
Samity Sam.
Yeah.
That was a bad one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Question though, Jay. Related to Garfield.
Do you hate Mondays?
Also, do you like lasagna?
I love lasagna.
Yo!
I'm very much a lasagna, pizza, spaghetti kind of, you know.
You and Ryan would get along.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love, man, anytime Sarah's like, what do you want to have for dinner? I'm like, spaghetti. She's like, always spaghetti with you. I'm
That
like,
is Ryan.
I'm like,
to
I'm
a
native.
T.
What do you want? That's a staple.
But here's the question. Do you eat spaghetti? Do you like spaghetti that is like the sauce you would get at a restaurant? Or do you like the runny liquid shit that would fall off your plate if you tilted it a bit?
We got to have restaurant style sauce, man.
Yeah.
So in my family, they all of them like the runny stuff. This is how spaghetti's made. I'm like, go to a restaurant and order spaghetti.
Yeah.
Just go and see what it shows up as. And they're like, that's not right. They don't make it right. So the entire world doesn't make spaghetti right, and just our family does when it's liquidy, runny shit.
What's that song? Jody Stein, Greasy Fry Bread.
Greasy fry bread. I still jam that song all the time.
It's hard not to.
Oh man, like when you just get this sense of like, I know it's gonna sound kind of silly, but like literally when that episode on Reservation Dogs where that song drops, right? That's the first time the world kind of hears this song, Greasy Fry Bread. And like the people there, you know, that you have the baby mama there is like, oh, she's like, oh my God, like, why are you guys into this? And they're like, Greasy Fry Bread. And I'm like, that's me. Like, I hear it. I'm like, yeah, like Greasy Fry. Like, that gets you excited for some fry bread. And just the play on stereotypes of like drug dealing versus like we're just making bannock or fry bread, right? So I love it. I think it's
Little
great.
mama looking deadly.
Why she looking so resi? Oh man.
Okay, enough messing around. We should probably get to business.
I guess so. So there was there's an article that came out a few weeks ago, and it was about a Indigenous couple from BC, right? And they would have a newborn baby, and they wanted to register their child with, you know, they're getting the birth certificate and the identification done with the government using their traditional name that they had given their child.
Yeah.
And the government turns around and says, no, we can't do that. And so that really upset them, you know, and if you read the article, we can post a link to the article so folks can read it for themselves. But, you know, they're discussing kind of, you know, this is an easy fix. All you need to do is download keyboard software, and you can add, you know, there's like the, what's the name? Keyman. It's called Keyman keyboards. And it has almost most Indigenous languages that have been uploaded.
Ours is on there.
Yeah. So I use that keyboard. I try to, you know, whenever there's opportunity to say happy birthday or something like simple, I'll like use that keyboard to like practice.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, you know, they're talking about, oh, it's simple. They just have to download a keyboard and put it on, and then we could have our child registered. And I don't, it's way more complicated than how the article articulates it. You've read it, right? Did you both?
Yeah, I read it.
So, you know, I just kind of want to start off, like, let's address colonial names.
Yes.
Right? So let's look back at, you know, when residential schools were up and running, what was one of the first things that you, as a child who went to residential school, one was the first things that they did at the schools?
Cut your hair and change your name.
Exactly. Right. So you were given a good, and I say good, but like their words, not mine, a good Christian name or a good Catholic name. Yeah. So you were a child and expected to forget your name and learn your new English name.
Forget your family too.
Forget your family, right?
Everything.
Yeah. So that's, you know, there's a long history of Indigenous people losing their names and having to take on a white name, right? Mm-hmm. So how do we get back to having our traditional names a part of our legal identity in terms of being in Canada, being a Canadian citizen, right? This is kind of what I wanted to.
Yeah. There's, you know what I love is there's multiple people in our community and outside of our community and other communities who do go by their traditional names. You know, I was given a traditional name when I was a baby by my tupa, and
What is your name? If you don't mind sharing.
Popaloichia.
And what does that mean?
Butterfly.
Hey.
So I used to dance around on my tippy toes. And that's when my tupa would always say, she dances like a butterfly, like she's going to be a dancer, which I love to dance, right? I did dance for a while, and I ended up having that name, and I was very blessed, and I love that name. So when I do introduce myself, I say my English name first, and then I also share my traditional name.
Right.
And because it is something I do with, I own it with pride, and I've kind of always had that, and I was always very proud of my name. And it's kind of a sidebar. I actually had people accusing me of starting to use my traditional name more for clout, which kind of sucked, because I was like, wow, like, you obviously don't know me, because I've always talked about my traditional name and who I am and where it came from and what it means.
Right.
And so I feel like there's like also this stigma now when people are choosing to bring their traditional roots to the forefront of their daily lives, because we're bringing forward like what we're comfortable with now. We feel good about it, and then even within community, it's like it almost gets shamed, and it's sad. But one way we can kind of fix that is if everybody starts doing it.
So true. I agree with you. Before I go into mine, I want to ask Jay, were you given a instruction name?
Quilak and Seaton.
And what does your name mean?
Sly Wolf.
Damn, man.
So the first part, Quilak, isn't actually the right pronunciation, because I was given it like 6 months after I moved to Oliver, grade 6. And the elder that gave me my name, she taught Okanagan, and she taught me from grade 6 to grade 12.
Right.
And then she passed a few years after that. And at the time, I didn't really care. So I never wrote it down, and I never practiced how to say it. And then finally I went to another elder who was the language teacher at the time, who's passed now, so I can't get the writing of the way we figured it out, because I had to try to remember when I was in grade 6 and why she gave me that name, and then explain that to him. And then he actually consulted with a different elder, and then they came up with that Quilak.
I like that.
So it was, but then now I like the meaning behind that, and like, because they essentially made up another word as far as I know. And so now I can't, because both those elders that consulted have passed now too as well.
Oh,
so now I'm kind of like, well,
who do I talk to?
How do I get the writing for that, right?
Yeah.
Like, so then I have to try to explain that to another language person. And this is from OYB as well, Suyus Indian Band. So it's a slightly different pronunciations than every other band, if you know anything about the languages.
Oh yeah, everything differs
North
from
and South.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Everything's so different.
So now I have to talk to somebody down there, figure that out, and try to get it figured out just to be able to use it. Like if I wanted to.
Yeah.
That just proves how important elders and their knowledge is, though. And like you were saying that when we were here, just kind of, having a powwow, you were talking about our elders and their program and whatnot.
Yeah, there's I'll touch on that quick, and then I'll touch on the name thing. I think that with elders in our communities, we need more diversity from elders, and I'm not saying that's like on the elders. What I'm saying is, it seems like for a very long time our community has leaned on certain elders for a long time. And I believe that there is enough space and enough room for other elders to be involved in other capacities. Mm-hmm. I think that it's important for all elders to be a part of cultural conversations, language conversations. I understand it's hard to get everyone together, but I think that we need to really look at all the elders not just here in OKIB, but, you know, we got to look down at Duck Lake, you know, Salmon River, you know, Round Lake, you know, there's other areas of our community that have elders who I'm sure have a lot to offer and a lot to share. And so I think that, you know, it's something that I hope that we can see more elders involved in when it comes to things like this.
And language revitalization and teachings.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, not to say that we're not very grateful for everyone who's already helping and a part of that, but I hope to see more elders being asked for their advice and their views on things too.
I think that's what the elders who are teaching right now are actually wishing for as well. Like they want more people to step forward, and I feel like they have been really encouraging.
Yeah.
'Cause you see, well, I see it more now. And you know what? I used to complain about it. Like, I don't see it enough. But really, I wasn't looking for it. I was waiting for it to come to me. I wasn't going out and looking for it. So, like, my little piece of advice for today is, like, you know, if you want to learn, go look for it.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's there.
Absolutely. It is. You just gotta make that step. You gotta go meet it or seek it out. You can't wait for it to come to you.
Yeah. That goes into the names though, because typically when we are given a name, it comes from an elder. It can come from our parents, but it can come from an elder. And that's why I kind of segued into that little section there, just because elders are a key point to names, our traditional names.
Yeah, so that's I'm glad you said that, because some of my cousins were given their traditional names.
Yeah.
I was never given one.
Yeah.
But then, like, you know, you look at my dad doesn't have one. Mm-hmm. And so, I know Tosh, you're going to hear this. I don't know if she has one either, my sister.
Yeah.
But then some of our cousins do. Yeah. And so I asked my dad, I'm like, well, how come some cousins got names and I don't have one, you don't have one? And he's like, I don't know, son. Like, your grandma just, I don't know. Like, obviously she's, passed many years ago, but, he didn't really know why some people got names and some didn't. So I remember being at school, and our elders, Eric and Chris, right? So I call them auntie and uncle. They were at school because they're part of the Aboriginal programs and services. So they're there to do smudges and there to help students with their, healing, or if they have issues or troubles that they're there to talk to and get advice from and learn from. So anyway, they were there, and I was like, hey, auntie, uncle, like, I don't have a traditional name and I'd really like one. And at the time I was 32, I think it was 33. I'm like, I'm 33. And you know what? Uncle Eric looks at me and he says, I didn't have my traditional name till I was in my 60s, so you can wait a while longer.
Patience, grasshopper.
Yeah. So he, I said, okay, fair enough. And he said, well, is like, we'd be happy to give you a name, but there's a few protocols we got to go through. And so he's like, I need to speak to more family about you, who you are as a person. And so that will help us come up with a name for you. And then there needs to be a ceremony, somewhat of a ceremony. It doesn't have to be a big community one, but just has to be at least a family ceremony where we give you your name. So I've been patiently waiting for 4 years now, and I'm still waiting, but it's okay, because I believe that as much as I wanted it right then and there, I understood too that it's important to wait.
Yeah.
And let it come to you. So I'm, and then with COVID, we haven't been able to connect with them very much. So, we'll see how it all goes. But
we have our arbor reopening here soon. So I do know that we will be having more community ceremonies soon. So maybe you'll get your chance.
Do you think maybe I should ask them prior to?
Yes. Well, and that's typically how it goes too, is, like a family member will approach one of the elders and say, like, hey, my child needs a name. I wish for you to give them the name. Or sometimes an elder will step forward. I don't know all the protocols with that, so I might be wrong, but that's just the way that I was told. Like, my grandmother and I chose my daughter's names together.
Yeah, okay.
And so Winter had a baby name, and then as she got older, we changed her name.
Oh, you can do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know that we could do that. And my
didn't know that
cousin,
either.
who's like very deeply involved in learning our language and protocols and whatnot, she actually told me, she's like, she can have a name, a new name now, because she's a different person now than when she was a baby.
So true.
And so Winter's name was Skukuwith, which is Wild Rose. And now her name is Suwikis, which is lightning. Well, she is.
Yeah,
you know
that's
my
fitting.
daughter, lightning, right? 1000%. And then Starly has actually adopted my Mama Hilda's name. And what is it? Is it Kwaishiteko? I'll have to get back to you guys on that. I think it's plays in the water is what it translates to, though.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that it's so important. If you have not everyone has the connection to name giving or how to give names, right? Like it's difficult depending on what your family dynamic is and
Yeah.
you know, your grandparents' connection to language. And so I think that that's really nice. If you don't mind me asking, Jay, have you talked to your grandma at all about giving names to?
No, but I talked to my mom about it.
Oh,
For
okay.
my girls, yeah. But like you, most of my family, they don't have names.
Yeah.
Some of my cousins' kids, I think, have names, but I would say maybe a handful.
Right.
But I don't think any of my cousins or my siblings have names.
Doesn't hurt to ask now.
Yeah, I was talking to my mom about it a couple years ago, but then we're like, oh, let's wait. We kind of decided to wait because just to get to see their personality show a bit more, because like we didn't know about being able to have baby names versus and then changing afterwards. Because Esmeralda, she's like, I always call her my little sunshine because she can go into a room and light it up.
Aww.
You know, and everyone that knows her loves her, and she's just such a happy, I want to say like very empathetic.
Yeah.
Aww.
She's like definitely an old soul for sure.
That's
right.
nice.
So, and I always call her my little sunshine, and Rosie's like the little firecracker, you know, like she's this fierce, like wild child that, you know, like she's savage. Like she could be so savage. It's just hilarious. But then
It's called balance, Jay.
yeah, I don't think she's there yet.
No, you have your sweet and innocent one. That would be
Oh,
like
my kids. Oh,
yeah, that's like us with our kids. Like we have the sweet, sweet little innocent one, then we have the firecracker one too, and it's balance.
But then
So true.
with Rosalie, it's, I don't know, like she's got these crazy wild blue eyes that when she looks at you, it's like she's staring into your soul. I don't know. It's,
Oh, I know that feeling.
yeah, right. Like she's
Piercing
just,
eyes.
yeah, but it's, I don't know. She's like so wild and fierce, and then all of a sudden she'll be looking at you and then like gives you a hug, and it's just like she knows like if you're having a shit day or something, right? Like.
So typically, spiritually, in the spiritual world, people with blue eyes are very connected to water. And that's why there's those sayings, you know, like people with brown eyes are very connected to the earth. People with blue eyes are more connected to like water bodies, like oceans and whatnot. And yeah, so there's that too. It's like you can get lost in your eyes in different aspects.
What about Hazel?
Hazel? I'd have to look that up. I feel like that's something to do with earth as well.
I would say, yeah, I was going to say.
Or like herbs.
Herbs. No, me and herbs don't have a good connection. Okay, let me tell you.
Back onto the thing.
Yeah. So, you know, when you look, circling back to the article about, you know, the obstacles of having, you know, your child's Indigenous name rejected. So, you know, there was a lot of outcry from Indigenous people across Canada who are like, this is wrong, this is racist, this is, and on.
Yeah.
You know, it went, and you know, I always try to look at something even keeled. I try not to let, you know, I try not to let a headline or an article like really bait me into rage or like being upset about it. Like I try to look at it objectively. I try to say, okay, you know, let's look at, you know, X, Y, and Z on the Indigenous side of things. Now let's look at X, Y, and Z from like the government thing, and like where are we missing?
Get both sides of the fence here.
Right.
So can I give you my 2 cents?
Yeah.
Real quick. So it's about understanding programs, technology.
Yes.
So the program that the government uses for the names and basically everything, it's not as simple as downloading like a font or essentially like a language.
A keyboard.
Yeah, a keyboard. It's not that easy.
No.
Because the entire program needs to be changed. And that's
But it should be is the thing.
well, the problem with that is like I don't know like the exact program and exactly how it was coded, but it's difficult. Like it's probably hundreds of thousands of dollars to change the program they use just to be able to add that language in.
Right.
Once
it's okay. So they skip a vacation. No big deal.
But I mean, like it's not like it'll be years away, right? Because it's going to take time to go through all the political shit, right? That you know of, Cody, and just to be able to say, okay, we're going to put the money into this to be able to add different languages, which they should, right? Like they should already have that, because if they have different languages, like how many different languages are in Canada, like with different names? People,
Exactly.
Yeah, Mandarin, you got Mandarin,
So, I mean,
Cantonese.
there should be, it should already be there, but to add that new keyboard, it's gonna be a process, right? It's gonna be difficult. It's gonna
So we
cost
have
a
to
lot
be
of money.
patient.
So like this is like this is what probably kicks it all off to get it started.
Exactly.
But it's gonna take time.
I agree with you. And I think if there's, thankfully, I say thankfully loosely, what I mean is being in British Columbia, we as Indigenous people have a little bit of I would say we have a little bit better relationship with the government than a lot of other provinces do.
Yeah.
Like Alberta, Manitoba,
Quebec.
Saskatchewan, Quebec.
Many will
Quebec.
disagree that, but I agree with you. I think we have it fairly good compared to other places.
Yes, so I no government's perfect, and I'm no government apologist here. But what I'm trying to say is specifically looking at British Columbia, the NDP, how they are the only political party to endorse UNDRIP on a provincial level and trying to incorporate it into provincial law, right? Now, it's not going to be perfect. Obviously, there's a lot going on with the old growth forest, and that's a topic for another day. But what I'm trying to say is if there were a government to try and get that money and change how the system works for names and registering your name, I believe that they would probably be the best bet to get something like that done.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see a conservative government doing that, or even a liberal government for that matter. So, but the other issue I see with the traditional names isn't just a matter of having it on your driver's license or your birth certificate. I think you're going to run into a lot of other issues where, let's say you're at school. Okay. So your registered name, let's say, say your name again?
Quailaconseaton.
Okay. So Quailaconseaton, I got to get the pronunciation a bit better there, but
Seaton is wolf, so however you guys pronounce wolf here.
right.
You guys know? No?
I know a coyote is
I was supposed to do my N1 this year, and because the time for the classes did not work with my work schedule, I was unable to do my classes. So again, had to put that on the back burner.
Right.
Well, I mean, like I have 6 years of Okanagan language, and I know very, very little.
There's lots to learn.
I've only got 1 year under my belt.
But I mean, like I was 11 to 18.
Good
Who the
years.
hell wants to learn like anything? Like I did just enough to pass, right? Like,
Yeah.
And I didn't want to take French, so fuck that shit.
Yeah, no, oh man, I totally agree. So here's the question, and this is where people, I think I'm gonna ruffle feathers with my thoughts and opinions on this.
Ruffle away.
But so let's say Jay walks into a classroom, he's brand new to the school, and on the attendance sheet is his instruction name. Now you have a teacher who's gonna look at that and be like,
What the hell?
like this, like, duh, like, I don't know, like, I don't know how to say this. So a good teacher might ask Jay, say, hey, can you tell me how to say your name? You teach me how to say your name so I can say it. And there's that act of like, hey, I want to learn. I want to ensure that you are
Ally.
an ally. You're comfortable in the classroom. Like, I'm going to do my part to ensure that I'm trying to use your name that you want to be greeted as, right? And so, but the problem is, I think, is that you are going to run into, whether it's a teacher or a police officer, you get pulled over by the police, he has your traditional name on your driver's license. Do you think they're really going to try and say your name properly? No. So, and then of course, on the other side, this is where I think people are going to be like, well, they should learn. You know, they're colonizers. They should learn our names. They should learn how to say.
We had to learn their ways. They better learn our ways.
Right. And it's like, okay, you know, fair enough. That is a valid argument. But is anyone actually going to do it? And on top of that, you have thousands of different groups of Indigenous people all over. Everyone's language is very different. Everyone's pronunciation is very different. An X in our language is a but an X in someone else's language, who knows?
Could be a k.
Could be a k. Could be a th. Yeah. You don't know. So it's like you are not going to be able to universally teach, quote unquote, people how to say your name unless you are the one teaching it.
Yeah.
So it's, I propose something very, like, again, I try to look at things evenly.
Yeah.
So I hope that they develop the program so they can include people's traditional names on identification. But I also think you should have your English name with it.
Oh, absolutely.
I think you should have both. I don't think it should just
if you have both.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a traditional name, and in like, assuming everyone has an English name, I'm saying it's more common to have an English name than it would be to have your traditional name.
Yeah.
But if you had both on there, well, you're still getting that representation. You're still getting identified for who you are.
Yeah.
But you can't. Decolonizing the system doesn't always mean like taking something away from it. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the times decolonizing sometimes means that we need to meet in the middle. Like
add to it instead of taking away. Like,
right.
That kind of reminds me of like, and this is again another whole kettle of fish, but it was like back when, you know, like back to the whole upside down Canadian flag thing. Let's change the flag. Let's do this. I don't think we need to fully change the flag. We can make adjustments to it to indigenize it and make it more culturally appropriate. That way it incorporates the people who originate from this land, right? So I understand what you're saying because I see things the same way too. Like we shouldn't have to just completely wipe out everything we know right now. Let's add to it. Make it better.
There's space. There's enough space to add.
Keep adding to a sandwich, it's going to get better.
Well.
Most of the time. Just throw some chips on there.
Oh, man.
So I got to add something that, so what I meant by it's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars for that, it's because it's not just the one language. Like you were saying, if they're going to add one language, they're going to have to add them all.
All of them.
And that's going to be what costs the money. And then I was going to say, I can guarantee you the majority of people won't learn how to pronounce English names because my daughter, Esmeralda, okay, that's her name. Her name's Esmeralda. And everywhere she goes, it's not an easy name for little kids, but everyone, she is always called Esme.
Right.
Or even Ezzy, which drives me crazy.
Yeah, I was like, I don't like Ezzy.
Yeah, it drives me crazy. But I mean, like, they won't even pronounce an English name.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an old English name, but I mean, like, they won't even pronounce that.
Right.
They just shorten it and, like, okay. I get it mostly for the kids because they can't even pronounce that. But
well, even traditional names have shortened versions of their names as well. So that way, when they do go to, you know, more public places where it's not as well known, it's a shortened version. Oh my God.
Look out for those shortened virgins running around.
It's a short version. It's a shortened version.
That was good.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, guys. I have no idea what's going on with me right now. Got the giggles today.
No, that was good. That was good. But that's just it. It's not, you know, I understand. I sympathize with a lot of our brothers and sisters out there who feel very wronged by the system, who have been wronged by the government, and, you know, but I think that we always talk about change. We always talk about how do we make change? How do we decolonize? And like I said, it comes down to, you got to play the game.
Yeah. You
have to play the game that you're in. You can't, like, unfortunately, everything's different now.
can't just flip the table and say, I'm done.
Yeah. You know, you really gotta try and, you know, again, I'm not saying it's perfect. It's maybe not always ideal that, you know, at Indigenous people that maybe we have to adapt, but it's either, how does that, you know, like it's either we adapt or we're just constantly banging our heads on the wall, you know, like you gotta look at it.
Meet halfway.
And sometimes you just got to meet halfway. It might not be perfect. It might not be what everyone was hoping to achieve, but
we don't need to assimilate. We need to adapt.
Yeah, man, that's just it. Yeah, you said that really well. We got to adapt, not assimilate, right?
I like that.
So, you know, I hope that couple can, you know, find, you know, somewhere down the road that maybe things will change and they can, you know, change the name on identification and stuff. I think that's important. I think it's, you know, it's good to be able to see your name, whether you're Okanagan or you're Coast Salish or wherever you're from. You can, if you have a traditional name and it's on your ID, that's pretty cool.
That is really cool. Yeah. I love meeting. I have some clients, I have clients all over the world now for readings, and some of them have such cool names because, you know, like we differ from wherever we are.
Yeah.
And it's really cool learning some bits and pieces of their language and their teachings, and they share with me. And that's one of the coolest things. I love hearing that. And honestly, if we could get one of our language speakers or teachers on the podcast, I would love to deep dive more into our language with somebody who does this as a profession, right? It'd be so cool.
If Ashley is listening, we're talking about you.
I messaged her today.
Oh, good.
Yes,
good.
I did. I took your advice. I ran with it.
Nice.
Yeah, buddy.
I think, you know, we really got to embrace each other, and we have to understand that working together, we are going to be so much stronger together than we ever are divided. And we've said that over and over on this podcast, and I will say it until the day I'm in the ground. Like, we have to do better to work with each other, for each other. And how are we doing for time?
About 13 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Cool.
So I was thinking, okay, maybe we can touch on this quickly, but, you know, since, as you mentioned earlier, the moose hide campaign or buckskin campaign, however.
Moose hide.
What's the buckskin that one?
No, it's the moose hide campaign.
No, I know it's, but don't some people, is there a buckskin one, or is it the same thing and people just call it that?
Probably
right?
the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure. But, you know, I think that, you know, we really, as you know, this campaign comes around every year. It's something that when I was the Indigenous rep for the BC Federation of Students, this was something that was really near and dear to my heart. I actually got to meet with the founders of the Moose Hide campaign and discuss, you know, how do we make it better? How do we, you know, grow it? And, you know, it's something that we talked about, you know, it was holding men accountable. And I mean by us as men, holding each other accountable for our actions, for our words, for what we do. And not only that, but talking to each other as men, supporting each other as men. We need to do that a lot more, because you can't expect us to be able to set good examples if we're not leading by example. But how do we lead when we're hurting? How do we lead when we have trauma that we haven't addressed, or pains that we need to deal with? And, you know, I really do think that the women across Indigenous communities, they've done the heavy lifting for a very long time. You know, I think that y'all ladies have done a lot to try and pick us up as men, to heal us, to help us, but we need to heal and help each other. And I think that's where we're going to start seeing that change is men's groups. I want to start a men's group. I've thought about this for so long, and I'm scared of it because I've never done it.
Yeah.
But I know how important it is to at least just get it started. At least just put it out there, say, hey, you know, we can follow some rules that we're
break barriers.
Yeah, you know, maybe we can't talk, you know, we're not going to use, you know, certain language in this settings, and it's, you know, established as
a sacred place.
A sacred, safe place.
Yeah.
but we need to be able to talk to each other and
Yeah.
confide in one another as men. And then I think that campaign is going to be even more successful. But calling out those bad behaviors too, that's we got to do that.
Did you see recently, I think it was Butterflies in Spirit. I follow them on Instagram. I really love them. They're a performative group, and spread awareness. And anyway, there was this issue, a member of their team had, a long-standing history. There was an event that happened in her relationship, and she was with one of my hero hip-hop artists in the Indigenous community, Greasy, and he took accountability for his actions. He called himself out. He apologized publicly. And then I saw, I read the comments because it's always interesting to see what people are saying, of course. And some people are just trolls, and they were mocking him and belittling him for taking accountability and saying, a public apology isn't enough. And it's like, well, how do you know he's not behind the scenes, like having a family meeting, doing all these things, like incorporating like a men's circle, talking about it, using his trauma and pain that he's inflicted on someone else to teach other people. And he probably carried that with him for so long. And I bet you it was heartbreaking for him to see all this come out. But at the same time, I bet you he was relieved because he could finally address it.
For sure.
Right?
I think it's, thankfully, knock on wood. I mean, thankfully, I'm not in the, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, I'm not in the public eye, so I don't know what it's like. All I can say is that, like, I can observe it from afar.
Yeah.
As soon as you're a public figure, everything's different. The whole game is different. And the thing is that I think, people who criticize apologies and stuff, it comes down to sincerity.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of people who apologize, who are in the public eye because they have to.
That it's insincere.
It's the right thing to do. They know they have to do it, but it's not sincere.
Yeah. I feel like his was sincere.
I was going to say that. Like, I did see, because we had talked about this before off the pod, but I believe that it comes down to being sincere about it, but not just being sincere, putting your money where your mouth is.
Oh yeah.
And so if you're like, hey, listen, like, I'm sorry, I've done this, I've wronged people, I've treated people badly, but here's what I'm going to do to correct that.
Yeah.
Showing like it's
got to be more than a lip service. It has to be actions. Yeah. 100%. And you know what? Steps like that, like with the Moosehide campaign and blending into Missing, Murdered, and Indigenous Women, Two-Spirit Girls Awareness Day, which we just had yesterday, was May 5th.
Yep.
It's the 6th today, so yesterday was the 5th. Campaigns like that focus on different areas are actually campaigns that will work together, because that's where the unity is formed. We need that healing in that aspect. We need healing in this aspect, so we can all come together and, exactly as you said, sympathize with each other. And a lot of people who have done bad things in their life aren't actually bad people. They were in a bad place in their life. And as long as they have changed, and as long as they have taken that action to better themselves and take accountability, then I feel like people have no business being insincere about an apology or something, right? It's putting yourself in those shoes. Like, did this person have a traumatic upbringing? Was this person in a bad lifestyle? How did that affect them? Because I, personally speaking, I was a bad person for a little while too, because I was dealing with traumas. And then once I had healed that, I took accountability for that. Literally anybody that I feel like I had wronged, I reached out to and had those conversations with, like even people in family, right? Like, I'm sorry. So I don't know, I guess for me to leave off here before we say goodbye to everybody, I'm just like, yeah, guys, open your heart, like open your heart. The toxicity has to stop. Like, be sympathetic with each other, compassionate, and look more into these campaigns and these movements and really see what it's about. Don't just look at the clothing they're selling. Don't just look at those things, the material things. Dive deeper into it.
Yeah. Even if, there's this thing that, again, I'm usually, sometimes I'm on my thoughts and about things, but there's there seems to be this ideology right now that like, if you're an ally, you need to speak up, you need to speak loud, and you need to like kind of use your social media platforms to speak out against, speak about the Moosehide campaign and the violence against women and the missing and murdered Indigenous women to
Spirit
and girls. I know there's been
so
more
many
added to it, so I'm trying to be as respectful as I can. But and it's like sometimes I don't always believe that if you're an ally that you need to be shouting from the rooftops what you've learned. You can, it's an option, but even if you're just learning it for yourself and having private conversations, you don't always have to blast it out on social media.
Oh, totally.
Learn it and talk to people who are going to be
reciprocal.
Not reciprocal. They're gonna receive it. They're gonna receive that information, and you can have a conversation around that. Yeah. I remember a few years ago when you were still living in Lake Country, Jay. We had a chat with someone. We were talking about Indigenous issues, and as a friend of Aaliyah's, I believe. And she was just asking you and I questions. She was asking us questions about some stuff that was going on, and she was just like, she received it. She was like, thank you for telling me. I had no idea. I can't remember who it was though.
Oh yeah. I don't remember that at all. No, but I've had many conversations like that. Actually, our old landlady, from our last place we were in, she was curious. I think it was something I posted about, the residential school stuff, so we were talking. I shot her place for her because she was selling it, our old rental. And then she saw my post, and then she just asked, she was like, I'm curious, and I don't mean any disrespect. And I told her about like, from like what I know and like my grandma's experience from what I've been told. And she received it, right? Like she's very open, and now you can see that she's learning more about more things, right?
Yeah.
And she's actually, from the posts I do see, she posts about it.
That's cool.
She'll share, like if I share something, she'll share that as well.
Gain an ally one day at a time.
Yeah.
One person at a time.
I don't know if either of you two noticed yesterday. I sure noticed it. There was quite a few red dresses.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Out.
I just got goosebumps.
On people's properties. They're posting it on their, hanging it up on their signs or mailboxes, around schools. And to me that like, even, again, it doesn't have to be everyone, but even if it's just, if there's some people getting into that and doing that and sending that message out there, even if you have no idea, you're going to think about it.
Yeah.
You might drive by and see a red dress hanging from someone's mailbox and be like, what's going on
and
with
then
that?
Look it up.
They're not just doing laundry.
Right. But then most people are, I would say most people are going to go home and look it up.
Yeah.
Hey, why am I seeing red dresses hanging? And then the first thing that pops up should be the explanation, right? So
yeah, I busted out the hoodie. From you guys.
Yeah, I rocked that's my favorite color, man.
It actually fits me.
It looks good on you guys. It looks good on you guys.
It fits me
Thank
again.
you.
So I was stoked that it. I busted it out. I'm like, I got to try this on, and it fit. So it's nice. So
we're talking about Cody's red North Okanagan Apparel hoodie.
Oh, yeah.
So if
Thanks,
you guys are searching for, don't remember, you guys, we're not videoing this. We are audio
like,
today.
What the hell are they talking about?
Yeah,
I know.
the red
and
one
like,
right
you
there.
guys,
Cool.
guys.
See? Look.
Look, it's right there.
Oh my, good thing I'm here.
It's there because
Jokes.
it was when the rain started. When I got home with Rosalie.
Awesome.
Well, should we wrap it up?
I guess so, guys. I think that was a really good episode, and we touched on a lot of topics, and we appreciate all the feedback, guys. Remember, you can find us on Instagram at Intertribal Talk. You can find us on Facebook at Intertribal Talk Podcast, and you can find us on Spotify at Intertribal Talk Podcast. And Cody, you are at Cody Isaac 13.
Close.
Oh,
you mean my Instagram?
Insta, yes.
I think it's Cody Isaac 3.
Cody Isaac 3.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm at the Devon Destiny.
That's right.
I changed mine. And Jay
where can we find Jay?
Falcus Media.
At Falcus Media.
Across all platforms.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've made mine pretty consistent.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Stay safe out there. Much love.
Love you guys.
White.